Your experiment 2 is from the lesson of light. Aim is to determine the focal length of a concave mirror by focusing a distant object. Distant object means any object at infinity. Infinity is that distance from where a parallel beam of light, becomes parallel or appears to be parallel, means any distant object around. So over to the experiment now. Apparatus required is an optical bench. This is known as an optical bench on which we mount the apparatus and take the readings. And this is a screen required because the image formation of the distant object will take place on the white screen. And then we have a pin stand. This is known as a stand, and we have a concave mirror. The round mirror you can see is a concave mirror, C-shaped mirror. The curvature is not very evident, but it is a concave mirror. Now, what we are going to do, all of you know that rays coming from infinity fall on the focus and make a sharp image. So what we are going to do is, we have fixed the screen. We can focus on the screen. We have fixed the screen at, this is 90, this is 85, this is 90, this is 95 or 90. You can see a mark here. The screen is fixed on 90. And now we are going to slowly move the mirror. You may please focus on the image. We are going to move the mirror in such a way that we get the sharpest and the best image. So here I slowly move the mirror. Here I slowly move the mirror. And let us see when do we get the image. The rays coming from infinity, that is outside. The rays coming from outside, we are in the physics lab. They fall on the mirror and image is going to be formed. Let us see. And we have to wait and see the sharpest image. So wow, we have, see, if I move further, the image becomes blurred if I move further. So in this way we have to move and make adjustments, and this is where I get the sharpest and the best image. Dear students, you can see the image of the school building, and the image of the school building is inverted. The image of the school building is inverted. The rays are coming from infinity and they are being focused on the school building, and inverted image you can see. Now over to the positions. The screen was at 90 and this, as you can see, is at 70. So in this way, now what we are going to do is, the moment we subtract these two, we get the focal length of the mirror. Now for the sake of experiment, we always take more than one readings. We are going to take 3 sets of readings, and every time we are going to subtract find the difference between the position of the screen and the mirror, which gives us the focal length, and then find the mean. So we can again change the position, say bring it to maybe bring it to 85 here, and now I can again focus. So as you can see, the sharpest image here is at, what is this? This is 65. So the position is 85 of the screen and the mirror is 65. The moment we subtract, we get the focal length. So we are going to repeat this experiment and have 3 sets of readings and find the mean to get the focal length of the concave mirror. And why did we get a inverted image? All of you know concave mirror forms real images. Real images are you have already read in your physics, the real image would be inverted. Real means fall on a screen outside the mirror and diminished in size. It is smaller than the building. The image is very small with respect to the building. So the students of St. Paul's can see this is the top of the building just above our stage, the back side. That's all. Now over to the observations. 3 sets of observations are ready in front of you. 1, 2, 3. Position of the screen, in first case 90, mirror 70. So The first reading is 90 minus 70, that is 20 centimeters, centimeters, centimeters. Then 85 and 65, 85 minus 65 gave us 20. The third time we did is, we just moved, we took the readings, we found the screen to be at 78 and the mirror at 58. So 78 minus 58 gave us 20. As I told you, finding the average or the mean gave us 20 plus 20 plus 20 divided by 3, F1 plus F2 plus F3 divided by 3, 60 by 3, that is 20 centimeters. So 20 centimeters has been found to be the focal length of the concave mirror. A PDF file of this practical has already been sent to you. The only thing is the difference in the reading might be there because in the copy when the experiment was done at that time readings were filled, and this is a live demo in front of you. We have lots of variety of concave mirrors in the lab, and it is nice to have a variety. Both the set of readings are correct, either what I am showing here or what you got in the PDF file. So both of the set of readings are correct. You can choose anyone to fill up your practical copy. Thank you. The third experiment of 10th class is to determine the focal length of a double convex lens by focusing a distant object. That is an object at infinity. Rays coming from infinity are parallel, and when they are refracted through the lens, they form image at the focus. So we can always measure the distance between the lens and the image, and we can get the focal length of the double convex lens. And always a real image is formed which is inverted and diminished. And real means it is not obtained inside the or backside of the lens, it is obtained in front of the lens, and we have to always use a screen or some object to get the image. So over to the experiment now. Again students, this is an optical bench which is used to take readings of the various experiments of light for mirrors and lenses. We have an optical bench, we have a pin stand, a lens holder, and we have a white screen to obtain the real image. So now we over to the experiment, and every time we are going to note down the position of the screen and the lens. When we get the best image, we are going to take the difference and we will get the focal length. And like the previous experiment, we are going to take multiple readings and find their average. So now over to the focusing. Let us keep the object at the screen at 60. I have kept it at 60. Now there is a window, the direction from which light is coming in the physics lab. So I am slowly moving. You can see a blurred image here. I am slowly moving the lens to get the best image here. So and I think this is the best in the focus, because if I focus beyond, I get a blurred image. And how much is this? 40, 41, 42, 42.2 is the reading. So when we subtract them, we get the focal length as 17.8. Again, let us have another set of reading. Say I set the screen at 40 and I start focusing. So this is This is 21, 22, 22.5. This is 22.5. So again 40 minus 22.5 will give us the focal length. This is the best image. If I move beyond it, I get a blurred image, and if I move beyond, so in this way we have to always focus and get the sharpest image. Over to the blackboard now. Again we have taken multiple readings. 3 readings is the best. Every time I fix the screen at different positions and I observe the place, the position of the lens where I got the best image on the screen. Rays coming from infinity were refracted through the lens and they were obtained on the screen. And when I subtracted, we got the readings as 17.5 centimeters, 17.5 centimeters and 17.8 centimeters. Taking their average, we got their sum as 52.8, and finding their average we got 17.6 centimeters as the focal length of the double convex lens. Thank you. And in the PDF file the experiment has been given. Again there might be a difference of the readings. We have a variety and lots of convex lenses. Whatever lens was taken at the time of writing the experiment in the copy will be different than we have taken in the lab just now. Experiment 4 of physics is refraction of light. The first experiment in this category is to trace the path of ray through a rectangular glass slab for different angles of incidence and measure the angle of incidence, angle of refraction and angle of emergence and interpret the result. So over to the apparatus now along with the experiment. The apparatus required is very simple. We just require a sheet of paper, a glass slab and a few pins, all pins as well as thumb pins or drawing pins. So we just fix this paper so that it does not move from its place. Now this is a glass slab which is used for doing the experiments of refraction. So this is a glass slab. You have to put the glass slab. The best is press it from the top so that it does not move, and trace the boundary of the glass slab. Next is we are going to fix 2 pins. We are going to fix 2 pins, and this is a drawing board. So we are going to fix 2 pins, all pins at random positions. And we are just going to roughly mark this is the incoming direction. This is the incoming direction. 2 all pins have been fixed. Now we are going to see their image from this side in order to see the refraction. And we are going to move our eye in such a way that we see only one pin instead of 2 from this side, and affix 2 more pins. Yes, please focus the camera in such a way that you see only 1 pin instead of 2. You see only 1 pin instead of 2. Yes, I think this is yes, this is the correct position. This is the correct position. You can see through the glass slab only 1 pin. Now I am going to affix 2 more all pins in such a way that all the 4 lie in the same line when we try to see. So again we pause, I fix 2 pins and then we get back again. Dear students, you can see 2 images of the pins. Okay, now we are going to see how we are doing the experiment. We are slowly moving our eye. I am in a stooped position, stooping down, and you can see the 2 images become 1. They become 1 again, and we should be able to see a single pin. Now we have to affix 2 more pins in such a way that all the 4 lie in one line. Yes, please move the camera. This is the place. No, again it is out of focus. Please focus that this image and these 2 lie in the same plane. Please focus it for the students. Yes, sir. Yes. This is the position, dear students, where the image of the 2 pins, the incident and the refracted, they all lie in the same plane. You are actually able to see only 1 all pin instead of 4. So the image of the pins which is refracted to the glass slab coincides with the 2 pins which I have put. Now sir, move and show them that I have put 2 more pins. These are the 2 pins. And show from the top, sir. Yes. Now I am one by one going to remove the pins and I am going to encircle the pin pricks. I am going to remove the pins and I am going to encircle the pin pricks. And the observation part is over. Now we have to do the measurements and the calculations. So I'll get back to you in a few minutes. Dear students, you have to use a pencil, but I am using a pen so that all of you can actually see properly, otherwise in the camera a blurred image will be there. We have to now pass a line through the 2 pin pricks. This is the incident beam. Then at 90 degree I have to draw a line which is known as the normal, all of you know. Now the previous 2 all pins I had taken out. I draw a line through them and let it touch the boundary of the glass slab which I have drawn. This is the emergent ray, and then again at 90 degree I draw the normal here. When I join them, I get the refracted ray. This is how the beam of light had passed through the glass slab. All of you know when a light ray passes from rarer medium to denser medium, this is air and this is glass. When it passes from rarer medium to denser medium, it is bent towards the normal. This is the normal. It is bent towards the normal, and when again a ray of light comes out from a denser medium to a rarer medium, it moves away from the normal. This is angle of incidence, this is angle of refraction, and this is angle of emergence. Now let us complete our experiment by measuring these angles, putting a D here, a protector. This is 90, 10, 20, 30, 40. This is 42. So this is 42 degrees. Angle I is equal to 42 degrees. And ten, 20, 30, 40. 10, 20, 30, 40, and this is again 41, 42. 41, 42, this is also 42 degrees. And because angle I is equal to angle E, the refraction of the light has been perfectly done and the path of the light ray has been traced to the fullest and properly. Now you can make the sides of the glass slab dark. And in this way you can complete your experiment. And we also label the rays as incident ray, refracted ray, and the emergent. So this experiment has been carried out perfectly correct, as angle I is equal to angle E. You may measure R, you may not measure R, is immaterial, but still we can measure R also. Actually it is not so much required. 10, 20, 10, 20, and this is 26 degrees. The only point to be kept in mind is that the angle of incidence, out of your estimation, you have to take care that it falls between 30 to 60 degrees. This means that your line should not, your pins should not be aligned too much like this or too much like this with respect to the normal. This is the normal, they should not be like this or they should not be like this. They should fall somewhere between 30 to 60 degree. 30 to 60 degree. This is very important to get the right answer. And always when you put the all pins, don't put them at the corner or at this corner, because then the refraction, how will it take place? Or if it is there at this corner, then you have problems in making the incident ray. So always take it near the center of the or just before the center of the side of the glass slab. Thank you. Next experiment is with the glass prism. Very simple, to trace the path of rays of light through a glass prism, and you know light always refracts through a glass prism. So over to the observation table. We require a drawing board, thumb pins to fix the paper, a blank sheet of paper, and a glass prism. You can see a glass prism has got two triangular sides and three sides which are square in shape, and every angle of prism is 60 degree. So from the top, if you view, it is an equilateral triangle having 60, 60 and 60 degrees. Now how to place this is, please remember, the best way to learn to place this is when you work on your mobiles, okay, or you shoot videos, you always see a triangle of this sort showing you to click there or to have the movie. So the same way, we are not aligning it in any other position, keeping the one of the angles towards your right and this long surface on your left. Now, and we have traced the boundary. Now fixing two all pins on this side, we can very lightly have put, this is the incident direction, and when we view through the prism, we are not going to view this way or this way, we are going to view this way. You can see the direction of my pencil, and we will try to see, instead of two all pins, one. So please please move the camera this way. Yes, you should be able to see one all pin instead of two. Beautiful. Yes, now I am going to affix two more all pins in such a way that the image of all the four all pins lies in one line. So after a brief pause, again we show you the image formation. Two more pins have been affixed now. You can see two here incident. These are giving us the rays which are coming out. Now we are going to focus and show to you how the pins have to be fixed. You can see four pins now, and now let us move and show you that how these pins lie in one line. Yes, so instead of all the four pins, you can see one pin. So you have to move your neck and eye in such a way and affix two pins here. So these two pins have been put here. Now let me do the geometry part and show to you that how the practical has been carried out and what we learn out of it. Now dear students, let us remove the pins and encircle the pin pricks. Okay, I am using a pen so that things are visible to you. Pencil, we have to do the practical in pencil, but I am using a pen so that in the camera things are visible. We have to also remove the prism. So I have encircled the pin pricks. Now I am joining this line, a long line I am making because I have to also measure the angle of deviation. And similarly, this line also I am measuring because I have to measure the angle of deviation. Angle of deviation means the light has been deviated by how much angle from its path. This is the incoming and this is the outgoing ray. How it has been refracted, I join here. So the ray came this way, incident ray, refracted, and it came out this way. This is the incident ray. This is the refracted ray. And this is the emergent ray. This is the angle of deviation. Either we represent it by delta or D. Okay, and this is the angle of prism. They all are equal, and this is equal to 60 degree. Now we just drop a normal here, and here also we drop a normal. Normal is at 90 degree to the surface of the prism, and using D we measure the various angles. This angle I am measuring I, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 degree. So angle I, this is angle I. Angle I is equal to 50 degrees. Then I am measuring angle of deviation. 10, 20, 30, 40. So angle of deviation is 40 degree is equal to delta. So angle of deviation is equal to 40 degree. You can take angle D also and delta also, whatever you wish. Now measuring this angle, ten, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this is again 50 degree. This is angle of emergence. So angle E is equal to 50 degree. Now the experiment is said to be correct. The properly traced refraction, if angle I plus angle E is equal to angle A plus angle D, so this I got 50 degree. Let me check. And this I got 60, this is 60 always, and this I got 40 degree. So 100 degree is equal to 100 degree. So the experiment, it has been verified, and the path of the light refracting through the prism can be seen. Incident ray, refracted ray, emergent ray, angle of incidence, angle of emergence, angle of deviation. So that is all. You have to verify this. An error of 1 or 2 degrees is acceptable. Thank you.